Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I want to talk about salaries, specifically nursing salaries, because I posted earlier today about the comfortable range of salary here in United States, and I got a lot of engagement from it, and a lot of people have been messaging me about it and how this is very difficult for some nurses who are not living in California. And let's talk about it. Let's talk about what is the current state of the nursing salary right now and also why I brought up this idea about comfortable salaries. Number one thing is that comfortable salary, like I'm doing this quote unquote, if you're watching the video right now, it really is influenced by a lot of factors, right? Like it could be based on where you're living, the cost of living where you're at, how big is your household if you have kids, and also just like individual life choices. And so for nurses who are wanting to attain that financial comfort, it will be very different what a comfortable salary range is for someone living in the Bay Area in California versus someone who's living somewhere in the Midwest. I came across a video on TikTok. I was scrolling, and I know that I need to stop scrolling, but I came across this very interesting topic about that comfortable salary range. And it seems like there is a consensus that it is around like 150,000 to $200,000 a year. And this is like for someone who is single, right? So it would be more for someone who has a family, have kids, and their needs may be much higher than someone who's just living by themselves. In my case, I live in California. I think that is a pretty good range to say that you're living comfortably. Comfortable salary typically allows you to cover your essential living expenses, be able to allocate funds for discretionary spending, and at the same time be able to have extra money to save and invest for future needs. There is actually a article that I was reading where it's in SF Gate. Let me look that up real quick. So this is specifically for Bay Area. I live in California, and Bay Area is gonna be where, oh my gosh, I did not even want to talk about it in this video, but I guess I pretty much just spilled it. The big decision that I was wanting to talk to you about is that like I am moving. I live in Central Valley for a while. I used to live in Northern California in Sacramento, moved to Central Valley because this is where my family or my husband's family lives. And then now we are going to be moving to the Bay Area. But oh my goodness, I know this is such a big change, and I will talk about this in a different video. I will talk more about the whole process and we'll share with you the journey. But yeah, surprise! That's the big announcement that I wanted to let you know is that I am finally getting out of my comfort zone and moving to the Bay Area. I don't know. There was one quote where I saw that, oh my gosh, I forgot. But it's essentially a quote where it says, if a city is calling you, it means that your story is not written yet, and it's probably written in that city. And there's a reason why you have that desire in your heart to move to that city. And I've always felt that way in the Bay Area. I've always felt like this, even when I lived in Northern California in Sacramento before. But anyways, I digress. So going back to this to the what we were talking about, comfortable salary. There is an article in SF Gate where they talk about how much you need to live comfortably in the Bay Area. And according to this article, in San Jose specifically, a single adult needs to make $147,000 and $430 to live comfortably in San Jose, California. So San Jose, California is a city in the Bay Area. It's more in the South Bay. And yeah, it's very expensive to live there. And according to the article, if you have a family of four, you must be earning around $371,000, 571 in order for you to be comfortable in this city. Now, like what I had mentioned earlier, being comfortable is very subjective, but on average, this is what they say is what's expected if you want to live in that area. And there is another article as well that talks about the same thing, but not in Bay Area, but in Indiana. In Indiana, like comparingly to San Jose, you only need $85,000, $197 if you're a single adult to live comfortably in this city. So as you can tell, like it's very different across the whole country what that comfortable salary is. And as nurses, I think that at the end of the day, we just want to live comfortable lives, right? Like we just want to be able to pay the bills, be able to save, be able to invest. And I think that our salary alone should be enough to actually get to that comfortable range. For me personally, I agree that the range for us, from our family to be comfortable, is for me to make 150 to $200,000 range because I have a husband who's an engineer who can contribute to our income if he works, and that would put us more ahead, like when it comes to investing and all that stuff. We are not big spenders. I think that in general, we're like a very frugal family. But yeah, like for me, that is my comfortable range. Nursing salary in the US, on the other hand, like I know a bunch of nurses who don't make six figures. And I feel that all the six-figure nurse earners are more situated in the West Coast, California specifically. In the Midwest, somewhere in the middle in the United States, like nurses are not making six figures, believe it or not. According to a state specific data, California's average RN salary is around $137,000. And I think this is mainly because there's a bunch of nurses in the Bay Area, and over there, I know nurses make a lot of money. Like, I have a nursing friend who makes way more than me as a nurse, and he's been there for over 10 years at Stanford. But that is the average for California. In Texas, it's around 84,320. In Florida, on the other hand, it's about 84,760 as well. So all this information is from New York Post and IntelliCare. You can see all the information in here. I will also put the links down in the description or in the show notes, like where you can get this information. In general, not a lot of nurses make this much. So for just the purpose of this video, I would agree to this range, factoring how our economy is now and how inflation is and how everything is so expensive now. I think that is in general a really good comfortable range for everyone in the United States. It took me maybe 7 to 8 years to get to that range. I started really 60 to $70,000 a year when I was a new grad nurse here in California, and it took me like 6 to 7 years to get to that six-figure nursing salary. And I was able to get there just by being a nurse, like by working up north in Sacramento. But when I became a nurse practitioner and had gotten the experience, I was able to bring up my salary even more. And in order for you, if you're a nurse right now who's not making six figures yet, or you're not in your comfortable range yet, I would really encourage you to pursue an advanced degree if that is something that is worth it for you. Because nurse practitioners, CRNAs, they make way more on average long term than someone who's a nurse, especially if you're not one of those Bay Area nurses. Second thing is maybe relocating to cities that has a higher pay scale. And I know this is not doable for a lot of people because they're so situated where they're at right now. But if you can move or do travel nursing, go ahead and move to a place that pays way more for nurses. The other thing is maybe pursuing a certification in order for you to get paid more. I know a lot of unionized hospitals, or even hospitals in general, that pays extra for certification pay. So for certified nurses. So this could be like if you're working in critical care, getting your CCRN. I know at that time when I was working up north in Sacramento and I work in neurosurgical ICU, a lot of my coworkers have those certifications and they get paid extra for having those certifications. The other thing is that this is something that may require time because the more experience you have as nurses, the better or more pay you get. And most unionized hospitals have step up ladders for nurses where you get paid once you reach that step. And that requires you just working more years as a nurse. Yeah, so those are the ways that you can get to that comfortable range or that salary that is comfortable for you. In my case, I'm able to be at that range now. Now, let's talk about why I brought up that comfortable salary. And this is just a different kind of perspective from somebody who is like me when it comes to being an employee versus an employer versus that kind of stuff. But I am a big proponent of like abundance and the idea that there's so many ways to make money because there really is a lot of ways to make money. And the thing is, if you work full time as a nurse in a hospital, your salary is capped. No matter how hard you work, it's always going to be that range. Like you cannot go above it unless you're working overtime, unless you are working in a place that gives you bonuses for productivity if you're a nurse practitioner, then you are really capped. There's a limit to how much you can make. And I talk about how there are a lot of people, and this is also in relation to the corporate like culture in America, where people kept on climbing the ladder, working more, and not be able to get like what their work is worth. And I think that there's a lot of sacrifices that you need to make if you want to keep on climbing that ladder and if you want to keep on like putting in that work. That requires time, sacrifices, and everything else in your life. And how most people who are climbing up and most people who are trying to put in more hours, like they're really like sacrificing a lot of their time. And for me, that's not something that I want to do. And this is why at this comfortable range, I don't want to do more than what is required of me or what is expected of me. Like that idea of going above and beyond, I am way past that. And even though I still do that because I'm still a people pleaser, like honestly, like I would be very honest with you. I'm still a people pleaser. I still have that in me and I still do the work that I do. So I would still go above and beyond, but not to the expense of sacrificing time away from my family or doing things that I actually love. I was saying that like the only way that I would go above and beyond now that I've reached that comfortable range is if I'm actually building something for myself or my own business. If I am the one who is going to be benefiting from this, and if the goal that I have is the one that's going to be achieved by putting in the hours and the sacrifices that I'm going to make. And so, what I'm saying is that if you've gone to that comfortable range in your life when it comes to your salary, you need to find other ways on how to make more money work for you. And so that includes that you should be looking more into side hustles, starting your own business. And if you're not an entrepreneurial kind, then at least like putting your money in a place that is growing and that is compounding over time and making your money work for you, aka investing. So this is why I'm a big proponent. This is why I named myself Nurse to Invest, because as nurses, we should be investing our money. We should be making our money work for us because true wealth really comes from you being able to have your time back. And the only way to do that is if you have money working for you. Because reality is that we need money to pay for the bills and expenses in order for us to survive. And yeah, so that's why you need to be finding ways to make your money work for you. Little plug, I actually have a class coming up on stock market investing. So if you're a nurse that's already in this comfortable range, you're making good money, you have a six-figure salary as nurses, you need to be investing your money. And if you are that person that I'm talking about, then sign up and reserve your seat for my class. This is on stock market investing because I think stocks is one of the best places to put your money, whether it's like crashing or it's like going up. Time in the market is better than timing the market. So investing for your future is really one of those things that you should be doing and making your money work for you. And as to what Naval Ravikant like said, he's this like tech guy from Silicon Valley said, he said that the only way that you can really be wealthy is by ownership. So whether this is owning your business, having an equity of a company, or owning stocks, that is the only way that you can be rich and wealthy here in America, at least. So yeah, so my goal is to make a million millionaire nurses, and I want nurses to really succeed financially. And this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is why I'm building what I'm building, is to help nurses like you become wealthy. Hope that this episode is helpful for you. I know I went off tangent with all the things, and I even went on about this announcement out of nowhere. But yeah, hopefully I can share more with you about my journey and this risk that I'm taking. And it's very scary. I'm very scared. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's ahead. But I know, and I always look forward to tomorrow because I know that the best is yet to come. So stay hydrated, stay invested. I will see you in the next episode, and bye.